Hey guys, welcome back to Fishing Tackle channel. Today I wanted to share with you guys some of the jigging rods that I have from various range of prices, and so my thoughts on each of the rod. And I'll also show you the weight as well as how much they would cost you and which one I would recommend if you guys are looking for a jigging rod. So first thing before we go through, I think a lot of people think when they hear jigging rod, such as slow jigging rod or slow pitch jigging rod or multi-purpose jigging rod or anything jigging, people think that you gotta use it for slow pitch jigging or anything else. But if you're unaware, you could ask most people that own one of these jigging rod. You could use it for any fishing, pretty much, just like any rods. They're super light. Some of them are very sensitive. Some of them are very strong. They're not too expensive, depending on which one you buy. And there's a lot of options these days, right here. From pretty cheap to very high-end rods out there that, if you're young and can't afford it, you could get a pretty good rod, high quality these days, as well as if you really want to go all out, there are really good rods out there. So let's start with the latest purchase that I've had. It's called Gotur. If you guys seen it, I think they have they're known for like slow pitch jigs, metal jigs, as well as I think I've seen many fishermen purchasing the star drag and lever drag reels that they are producing. They're up and comer. They're not as big as Cast King or what is it, Pissy Fun, but they're coming along. They're pretty good high quality reels and rod makers these days. They've jumped into the market just like what's the Australian company? Nomad, right? Nomad recently released their jigging rod as well. But I purchased this for about, I won't say the price since I'll talk to you guys. I'll go into more details about it. But yeah, I've been wanting like a Shimano Motive infinity rod, but it's way too expensive. As well as Daiwa Saltiga SJ Hirame rod, which looks identical to this. So those two rods are almost identical to this, but this one, they're very, very expensive high-end rods. So I found this through some YouTuber, a Korean YouTuber who also owns a Saltiga rod. Highly recommended this. So let's check it out. It's called Gotor Pollux, and the motto is 602 MHC. And then when you look over here, the length is about, I think this is about 6'4". Yeah, I think 6'4". It says 1.83. You guys could check it out. Do your math. The jig max is 260 grams. Pretty good. And then PE, which is, I think that's that's for braid, right? Polyethylene, I think. 2 to 3, which is like somewhere between 20 to 40 pounds, depending on the diameter, which is thickness of the rod. I mean, not the rod, the braid. And also it depends on how many braid, whether it's 4, 8, or 10. And then it says drag max, that's interesting. I never see those, is 4 kilogram. Then let's see, the second rod that I have is called Tailwalk. I haven't used this because I just got it from AliExpress and it got delivered within 2 weeks or so. And go check him out if you were looking for a nice, good jigging rod. I haven't used it, but based on comparison with my other rod, they're pretty good. Tailwalk is a new brand that I found. It's a Japanese company. Going back to this is Chinese, I think. This is a Japanese company, and it's made in Korea, which is interesting. The model is Sakurama's jig. I think I've shared with you about this jigging rod. It's specifically for like salmon or trout fishing, but I mean, I've used this for deep sea fishing. It's amazing. You guys have no idea when you fish with these guys, with some of these really nice, well-made jigging rod, you'll know what kind of difference it makes on your wrist and your arms and overall fishing experience, because other ones are really good, but this one especially, wow, it was incredible. I was pulling up huge bluefish with this rod, and I barely felt it. I mean, the pressure I had with plus the drag, it was pulling drag a little bit, but the pressure it took off when I was reeling in, this rod did, was amazing because it was soft and smooth, and when I pulled it up, it was a giant bluefish, and I was like, wow, one of those fish that people struggle and then pull and have to lean against the rail type of fish. I was able to just reel it in like a short black sea bass. So that was incredible. So those are things to consider. You guys think that getting some $100 rod or even $40 rod at a Walmart is good enough, but you'll be surprised if I'm lucky and fortunate enough to own all these rods, and it's incredible how the difference a rod makes when you pair it up with different types of reel. You have no idea. So the next one, so Sakurama's, let me go back to the specs since you guys might be asking. Where is it? There you go. So for this, it's a little bit lighter. The jig max will be 200 grams, and that's the recommendation. And then line max is P 1.5, so about 30 pound, somewhere between 25 and 30 pounds or something like that. That's, again, it all depends on what kind of braid you have. But I personally think you guys might disagree. You guys could leave a comment why you disagree. But for me, I don't think it really matters. Again, it's like an expiration date for your product. Max only means that's what they recommend to maintain the integrity of your rod. That if you go beyond that, your rod wouldn't work well or it might break. I've used something heavier and I've had no issues with other rods. I think it's I'm pretty sure they tested it, and the safest, the range they probably put right here for max is the ones that they want to ensure that people don't overuse it and break it and complain or have to file for a warranty. So I think that's why they put it, they're pretty conservative about this. But would I recommend using going beyond? Yeah, I would, because I've seen people that have like a super expensive rod or heavy rod, and I see their rods break all the time. So it all depends on the quality, the way you handle your rods, and who uses it, how you use it, what the condition is, and what kind of quality control the rod may have. But let's move on from that. Sorry for taking so long. Daiwa Blast, this is another jigging rod. It's an amazing rod. So as I go through, let me know what you guys think based on the reel, the butt, the handle right here, and the rod itself. They're pretty much all very similar. They're all Fuji. I think the first two, this is a Fuji seat and rings that they use. Same thing for Tailwalk. No, Tailwalk doesn't use. I think it is Fuji right here. But when you go get into Daiwa, it's interesting. I don't think it's a Fuji. I think Oh no, it is Fuji. My bad. So far they're all Fuji. Um, I think the price range differs based on what kind of Fuji ring that they use. For me, I've had Fuji rings, like bad quality Fuji rings as well. So I don't think the rings really matter. I think the workmanship really matters. But let's go back to Blast. Let's see what we have. So for Blast, it shows the model specifically is SJ63-3, 638-3, and the jig weight maximum or the range they suggest is 150 to 260 gram. That's pretty high, pretty good. As well as PE, which is again PE poundage, is 1 to 2.5. So that's again polyethylene line, braid line. Depending on what kind of braid it is, it could go up to anywhere between 20 to 40 pounds or so. Let's go to Saltiga. So Salty Stage Air. It used to be my lightest reel. It's no longer my lightest reel. It's a very good rod. You can't purchase it in the state. You won't be able to find it online either. I got this from Korea when I lived there for a couple years. I had to go into the local fishing tackle shop to get this. And that's because I believe this is made in Korea. It's a Abu Garcia Korea branch, so they make it as a domestic product. So you won't get it, or they won't even sell it online to get this. You would have to go to local shops. So if you do go to, especially if you're in the military, Air Force or Army, most likely getting stationed in Korea, go check out the local big, not the smaller, big tackle shop. There's one in every city pretty much. If you're in Humphreys or Seoul, there's big ones near there. Several of them. And you could get with the amazing exchange rate, you could get it for a pretty good price for these guys. And it says down shot because it's a jigging rod, light jigging rod, but it was specifically sold for halibut fishing in Korea and other type of fishing. And they call it jigging rod, but I think they sell it as a multi-purpose jigging rod. So that's something I've noticed, that in the States, as people look at jigging rod as some kind of a specialized, you got to use it for jigging purpose, but that's not it. It's just like, I remember when spinning rods were, people looked down on spinning rod if you brought it into a boat fishing back in the 90s. I think even in the 90s, I remember my friends were telling me you need to grow up and get a conventional reel. That spinning reels belong in freshwater or something like that, or surf fishing. But now it's like everybody uses it, right? Like spinning reel is, a lot more people use spinning reels on deep sea fishing than the conventional reel, which is funny. So things change. I think it's a very cultural thing. But let's look at it. This one's pretty good. This is all written in Korean. 6 feet 3 inches. The line is 1 to 2.5. It's made in Korea. And then up to 8 pounds. The jigs, I could use up to 8 pounds for this one. And then lastly, Osea Shimano Infinity Rod. I don't think they sell this model anymore. Shimano is really good at coming out with other rods. Unfortunately, this one is made in Indonesia. PE max jig is 2, which is around between 20 25 pounds, I think, maybe 30 pounds. And the jig max, PE, that's the braid, The max jig would be about 150 grams, 80 grams. But I've used it beyond that. I've used 200 grams for it. No issue with it. Pretty rod. But it's very similar to the Tailwalk and this Vulture. And then lastly, I got this Goofish. I purchased like with the coupons and everything, I think maybe 130. Now they sell for like 150 or 180 or something like that. The price is ridiculous. I think this is a Chinese company, but sold mainly in, or maybe a US company. You could see it on Amazon. It's a Fuji, all Fuji, high quality. P2 to 4, so there's a big range. I think this is definitely, you could use it for light fishing as well as, big fish, like up to like, you could get barracudas and yellowtails and stuff like that for this easily. Size 6'6", max, look at this, max jig would be, the range would be 120 to 250 grams, and then for, I guess, sinker max is 350. So this deadlift 15 kilogram, amazing. I highly recommend this. I think if you want to buy something local, not too expensive, this is a pretty good rod. So what you guys think? Like, leave a comment which one you think in order would be the cheapest and which will be the most expensive. I'll make another video following up on which one is the cheapest and which one is the most expensive one. But they're all really good rods. And let me show you what kind of difference it makes when you get these kind of light rods. So let me weigh in each of the rods. I have to stand them, so it's not going to be a precise weight of it, but initially, this used to be my lightest rod at, going to take about 4.2 ounces right here. 4.2 ounce, which is just crazy. Do you guys own a 4.2 ounce? So the 4.2 ounce is the Salty Stage Air. That's one of the main reasons I got it, because it's such a super light rod. So Tailwalk, I haven't had it for too long. 4.5 ounce. Still, Salty Stage is in the lead for the lightest rod so far. Now let's check out the Shimano Osea. 4.5. Interesting. Very similar to the Tailwalk. So Goofish, it has all these little extra secure for your reel. So I think this adds more weight, and because the range, the size for jigs and deadlift and everything, the whole integrity of the whole rod is somewhat much stronger than the other rod. It has to be much more heavier than these guys so far. So yep, going from 4 inches to almost 7 inches, over 7 inches, just crazy. So for this Sculptor Pollux, where do you guys think it fits? Heavier, lighter, in the middle? Let's check him out. Oh, so it's very similar to Shimano and Tailwalk at 4.4. Very interesting. And then lastly, let's do the Blast, Daiwa Blast. This really surprised me because, I mean, I've used this a lot. And one of the reasons was because it was one of the lightest rod. I didn't think that this would be the lightest rod. Look at this, 3.8 ounce, which is amazing. I don't know if there's any jigging rod out there at 6 feet 6 inches with this kind of capability spec. that would weigh under 4 ounce. 3 point. I gotta double check this. This is crazy. 3.8 ounce. That's why it's Daiwa. Yeah, very cool. Every one of these have 10 rings equally. Only difference is, again, this is made in Korea, that Abu Garcia. And Korean fishermen's all about like, yeah, they like everything high quality and they want those extra things. And I think they went far and beyond for this, designing this rod, making it super light. So they put 12 Fuji ring. No, it's not even Fuji. It's called Kagan rod ring. What is even a Kagan? I think that's another company. But very interesting. I mean, this turned out to be a long video. If you have any more questions or if you want me to like share with you about jigging rod, let me know. But yeah, these are jigging rod is the future. I've said it many times. You guys need to start buying jigging rods just because, you know, you could tuck it in. These are long, nice rods that you could tuck in. A lot of them, let's see, I think all of them here come in 2-piece that separates in the butt area right here, which makes it much easier to transport in your car. That will fit in your back seat, and if you have a big trunk, even in your big trunk. So 6 feet with the butt. This 6 feet becomes like a 4, like about maybe 5 inches, I think. If you cut in half, I would have to measure it. And it's incredible how strong they are. It's very light and withstand those heavy, even better than just the quality wise. They use the highest quality to make these rods with amazing quality control. So I recommend it, and you know, I've been saying this is the future, and I've noticed that, you know, most of the regular fishermen now carry jigging rod and they do metal jigging. So if you are starting, just jump into metal jigging and get these rods. Anyways, I hope this helps, and I'll talk to you guys later.